Hey, hey, it's bright suns. Welcome. And when I say bright suns, I don't mean that literally because I got snow and gray skies, at least where I am, but that's okay. We are brightening up your day no matter what. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Welcome aboard. And I am joined by not one, but two absolutely wonderful special guests. First, starting on my left, I have Phil Staniforth. Phil, welcome aboard. How you doing today?
Very good. Thank you, Andrew. How are you?
I am pretty fine and dandy. It's nice to be back. We haven't recorded anything in a while. At least I haven't. So it's nice to
Yeah.
kind of come back and do some stuff with some guests, which is always fun. And on my right, which might be your right too, audience, depending on what your screen looks like. I don't know. I'm not going to judge your computer. But on my right, I got Charlie Skywalker rocking one hell of a cool TIE fighter background. Charlie, how you doing, buddy?
Oh man, it is a fantastic day here in Roswell, New Mexico.
Ah, beautiful. I've always wanted to visit like the American Southwest, and Roswell's like one of my boxes I need to tick. It's just always fascinated me, and I'm sure like you guys get not now, but you guys get a lot of tourism, like people coming in to be like, "Ooh, I want to see Roswell."
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and we still have a little bit of it. People in the U.S. still manage to come by in their RVs, but that's what 90% of the traffic is right now. Is everybody that has an RV is in it and is tries to escape to the hills.
Do you actually live in Roswell? Or is
Yes.
Oh my God. That's like the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
There's
Museums-
not much here.
Well, there's aliens, though, isn't there?
Well, so they say. There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on here.
Wow.
If I was a Star Wars director and I wanted to use like a desert planet that didn't look like Tatooine, I would go to Roswell just to, film something Star Warsy in Roswell. That just fits. So
Yeah.
if I ever get a directing gig, Charlie, you can look forward to seeing camera crews set up there, and I'll give you a role as some kind of character, whatever you're feeling. I'll throw you
Just
in
have
there.
me stand in the background that'd be great.
That is amazing, though. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, welcome aboard, gentlemen. Welcome to Bright Suns. Thanks for coming on here today. We're going to talk about a few things, probably Star Wars related. I don't know. I really wanted to make this a Moulin Rouge centric podcast, but James and Brock told me no. But they're not here right now, so we can do whatever we want. But let's start with the obvious one, The Mandalorian. It's this little show that's on some streaming service whose name I can't remember, but it's a thing, and apparently people watch it. So we're on our second season of Mandalorian, and just like a brief sort of overview, like what's going through your head right now? We're almost, no, we're not almost. We are halfway through season 2 already. What are your feelings on this, Phil? I'll start with you. How's this series making you feel so far?
I loved the first episode. I thought that was a fantastic comeback. Really looking forward to obviously seeing all of the episodes, but for me the first one was great. Second one I was like, that's okay. Wasn't a massive fan, to be fair, of the second one, but I think sometimes you have these kind of, and what I have heard that there are things that are in that episode that will come back later on in the series and stuff. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I am really enjoying it at the moment. But I haven't seen episode 4 or whatever it is, chapter 12, right?
Oh, okay. What about
So I've only seen the first 3.
all right. And episode 3, or rather chapter
or 11,
11.
Right? I think. Is that right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, the Bo-Katan one, right? That's 11.
Yeah, I've seen the one
12.
with Bo-Katan. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So how was that one for you?
Yeah. Is that it? Yeah. 11, right? Yeah. No, it was good. I did enjoy it. Like I wasn't really that aware of those characters, having not seen it for a while. But I kind of, for me, episode 1 was amazing. Episode 2, okay. Episode 3, not too bad. Yeah, I'm not actually as impressed as I was with the first season, which I thought was amazing. Looking forward to seeing Gina Carano back though for episode 4. Is she in that one? Episode?
Yes.
Is she going to be in that? Okay. So looking forward to that. But yeah. I haven't been super overwhelmed by it, if I'm honest. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. And how about you, Charlie? What have you been feeling about this season?
Well, I'm the opposite of Phil. I absolutely love this season. I did see episode 4, so I'll try to make sure that I don't reveal any spoilers. I've enjoyed every one of them. 2 and 4 are probably my favorites, just because the background information that you get in those that is tying everything together. Whether it's tying into the first season, whether it's tying into the actual movies or other series, there's so many callbacks. There's so many shots that are iconic in it, and it's just a wealth of information. Throughout the first 4, I'm way excited for what's to come, and these 4 are better than the first season, in my opinion.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you're digging them. There's a sort of pattern that we've been seeing that a lot of people have been bringing up. And I think I do enjoy season 2. I'm not sure yet if I like it any more or less than season 1. I still haven't sort of done that math in my brain yet. I think the second episode this season might be my favorite, just because I just became 100% enchanted by Frog Lady. I love her. I want a Frog Lady Black series. I want a Frog Lady everything. Just sign me up. She's so cool. The pattern that everybody's kind of been referring to, that's been sort of sticking. They're really sticking to this pattern, is the whole idea of like this whole show is just a bunch of video game side quests. Mando needs help, so he's like, "Hey, can you help me, character?" And the character's like, "Sure, but first, do this unrelated thing for me, please." And the whole episode is just that unrelated side quest. And we've gotten that now 4 episodes in a row. So I'm having fun with that. I'm digging it, but I'm hoping that moving forward, we kind of get out of that rut and kind of start telling one longer story and really make it feel like we're on that same through line, because the side quests are fun, but they really do feel like detours. And I think that when it came to season 1, whether or not you enjoyed the egg episode, the Jawa egg thing, which was, I think, chapter 2, that was, everybody was agreeing whether or not they enjoyed that episode. They all agreed it was very side questy. It was very tangential. And it was just sort of like, here's an episode about a fun thing, but then like you had to get back on the path of the story. And with that still kind of continuing, what does the future of Mandalorian look like? And not just like season 3 onward, but the rest of season 2. Where do you feel like it's going? And where, Phil, do you think you would like it to go?
Oh, wow. So I would like a main storyline to be the big focus. Kind of similar to what you said. Like at the moment, it does seem like he's got like a quest every episode, and it's just like a little bit different. But you have the storyline of him traveling with Baby Yoda, which I am going to call him Baby Yoda, rather than the child. But so I'd like to see that come to sort of fruition, where we find out what the purpose of this journey is, which I'm sure you will get. Probably by the end of this series, you'll find out what the purpose, not the purpose, but why everybody else is kind of after Baby Yoda, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see that come to fruition a bit more, I guess. But I enjoy it. I think it's a great series. I just think maybe, focus more on the main storyline in the future, like future series. I mean, I don't know. I think it's how many do you think it's going to be? Four series?
I've heard maybe 4, and I've heard 4. 5. Yeah, I don't know where they're going to land. Yeah, either way is good with me.
Yeah, no, I think it'll go on as long as people are still interested. They seem to be at the moment. So, Yeah, don't know. I'm happy being surprised all the time, and it's great to see the things that they're doing and stuff. I'm just happy with how things are at the moment, really. Yeah,
I think you said the key word there, Phil. You said surprised, and that they are surprising us week after week. They're surprising us, which is always good. We can't, whether or not an episode is for you, so the fact that we get surprised means they're doing something right. And Charlie, where are you feeling as far as the trajectory of the show and your, wish fulfillment trajectory of the show? Are they on the same path?
I believe so. 4 answers a lot of the questions, and I can't wait to hear Phil's reaction once he sees Phil or number 4. Just because there's so much information that they give us in that short amount of time that connects a lot of the dots. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it. So
it's fine.
But no, it's it really connects. It kind of shows, at least to me, it shows where it's going. It shows why Baby Yoda is so sought after, and his whole idea and where he fits into the whole series. And it also ties into the sequel trilogy in a fantastic way. I believe that we're getting to the nitty gritty of the series. I have a lot of speculation on what's going to either happen this next episode or at the very end of the season. Right now, I have a very Empire Strikes Back feel about the series and where it is right now. And they can either continue with that feel and next season have like more of the Return of the Jedi type, more of a redemption arc, or they could even fit that into the last 4 episodes that we'll get this time. But it reminds me a lot of, and you guys might be a little young to remember this. I'm pretty old here. But the TV series Kung Fu.
The David Carradine.
With David Carradine, yes. Mm-hmm. And they had a set goal in mind for the end of the series. And every time that he went to a different place, it was a different quest that he had to complete before he could get to that end. And I think that's the feel that we're getting now. They're giving us a lot of backstory. He does a quest. It kind of evolves his character. I think we're going to see his idea of the Mandalorian shaken probably to the ground, and then they'll have to rebuild it with some of the characters that we've seen so far this season. But yeah, I love where they're going with it, what I think that they're going to do with it. It's the best series I've watched in a very long time.
I like that. I like that sort of point of view on it, and I really like the word there too, quest, Charlie. That is a great way to put it. It really feels like, especially this season, every episode has felt like I'm watching a cinematic reenactment of, a bunch of people were playing a Star Wars tabletop role-playing game, and somebody filmed it with actors and a budget, and it's like, hey, you walk into this tavern and somebody says, go kill this monster and I'll give you what you seek. And then it really had that feel to it. And that could be a good or bad thing, because I said the same thing about the Kevin Hearn novel, Weapon of a Jedi, not Weapon of a Jedi. What's the Luke novel, that canon? I can't remember the name of it. It was the canon novel with Luke, and it was not very well received. But I felt the same way about that. It was just like Luke kind of going from one thing to another, and he's like, oh, here's another quest for you to do, Luke, but none of it really felt like it mattered. Whereas this has a feeling like it's building towards something. It has a feeling like this is all important. And I think that they're also doing a good job of subconsciously telling us that and it's such a simple thing too. But if you guys are following Star Wars on Instagram, and I'm sure they're posting it other places too, but every week after people have had time to watch the new episode, what do? They put out these gorgeous posters, these character posters of whatever new character we have met over the course of that episode. And the idea of like, here's the character poster for this new person you're meeting, it really makes it feel like we didn't just meet a character of the week and then that's it, and Cobb Vanth is out and we're never going to see Cobb Vanth again. It really felt like we are adding these characters to the pantheon of Mandalorian lore, and they're part of it now. Like I'm putting money down right now. We have not seen the last of Frog Lady. She's coming back, and if she's not, I might cry. But the side quest thing has been very predictable and apparent so far, but it has not gotten to the point yet, like Light of a Jedi or whatever that book's called, where I'm just like, oh, please just get to some kind of point. It has not gotten to that yet, which is great. And now we have the back half of the season, which I believe, and I would like, this is where my heart is going, to break that cycle. And now it's going to become a lot more serialized, a lot less quest of the week. And we're going to dive into a much bigger story. And considering we have Dave Filoni in the director's chair next week, we can expect something big. Now, have either of you guys heard the apparently rumored title of the next chapter? And if not, would you like me to keep it a secret, or would you like to?
Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
So apparently, and there's a few sources on this, and I was looking into it, and apparently one of the sources was kind of legit because they said they leaked this latest episode, the Cara Dune and Grief Karga episode. They leaked that title, and it ended up being correct. So apparently, the title of Dave Filoni's upcoming episode is really simply The Jedi. And if that is indeed what we're getting, that tells us a lot without telling us much at all. And that really it feels like it's going to kickstart not just the end game of season 2, but the overall plot of The Mandalorian, however giant or small that story ends up being. So in regards to what is coming next, we've gotten Bo-Katan, we've gotten Cobb Vanth, and now we are probably going to see a certain lovely orange-skinned woman in our very near future. What does Ahsoka mean to you guys on this show? What are you looking for in Ahsoka Tano on Mandalorian? Phil, what is that gonna? Is this gonna be a good translation?
I'm just looking forward to seeing a Jedi, if I'm honest. Because it is gonna obviously it's gonna be Ahsoka, but just looking forward to seeing a Jedi or the Jedi back. Really, that's the main thing for me is I want to see some lightsabers. Really, I know a lot of people want to deviate from the traditional Star Wars route, but I love Jedi. Like the Jedi's are amazing. That's why I got into Star Wars, and Jedi and Sith battling against each other, and that's for me that's kind of like the root of Star Wars, and it'd be great to see. It's a bit weird because there's not many, because this is after Return of the Jedi, so there's probably 3-4 Jedi like that we know of at the moment. There's not many, right? Luke and Leia and Ahsoka, and I don't know. So it'd be interesting to see what they're going to do with it. Whether Ahsoka's going to start, I don't know. Training some people or mentoring some people or even sort of how she's going to appear as well. It'd be interesting to see.
It's definitely I don't see Ahsoka being like, I don't think she's just sitting in a living room somewhere being like, I wonder what's on space TV right now. Like she's got her own thing going on. So whenever Mando ends up meeting her, he is going to, I think, kind of interrupt her status quo, whatever her status quo is at the moment. Charlie, what's Ahsoka going to be like for you on this show?
Well, Is she a Jedi?
Mm-hmm.
She left the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
I know that she's rumored to be in it. I know who they say is supposed to play her, but is that the one that we're going to get in this episode? That was just a thought I had.
Dawson?
Is
that who's
yes.
rumored, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I just have a look. Sorry.
She's to me, it would be the ultimate choice. She is a lot like Mando, with his creed, the way that his is being shaken with the reveal of Bo-Katan, and the other sects of Mandalorian, where he's not, now realizes he's not the only one. And we kind of see that a little bit in episode 4, a little foreshadowing, I believe. But Ahsoka is the same way. She had a set belief in the Jedi. It was turned on her. She left the Order, and so she's gone and done her own thing. The last that we see of her is in Rebels, I guess now.
Yeah.
So when we left off with her, she was in search of another Jedi, Ezra. So, I mean, could we possibly see him? Could we? I mean, it's lots of possibilities that we have there. I'm hoping that, and I'm almost guaranteed that we'll see her at least a little bit, and that's going to kickstart her own show that will be on Disney Plus. And probably a search for Ezra would be my main plot device for that. But I think that she'll see an appearance. I don't think she'll train him. I think she'll hand him over to another Jedi.
Ooh, okay.
Because there are a couple that are left.
Yeah, and I think that the team we've got working on this show, like Filoni and Favreau, and particularly Dave Filoni, is very good at understanding, what do the fans want to see. He knows how our brains work. He knows what's going to delight us and what's not going to delight us. And I think that even though we're all making the assumption it's probably Ahsoka, I don't think our assumption is way off base, because Filoni knows better than to be like, yeah, let's just create some Jedi, and the Mandalorian walks into a bar and there's a guy there. He's like, hi, I'm Frank. I'm a Jedi. Like, he knows that's not what we care about. So I think that to have Mandalorian run into a Jedi and have it not be Ahsoka Tano would be kind of a mistake right now, especially with all the hype that's been building around it. And Ahsoka,
they haven't mentioned her, right? They have mentioned. They've said her name, right?
They have, yeah. Bo-Katan kind of pointed him in her direction. And Ahsoka is so much like Din Djarin, because they are both Ronin. They are both, just leaving their creed. Well, not so much leaving their creed, because Mando is not taking that helmet off for nobody, no how. But they're leaving behind, this sort of organization and kind of wandering off into the wilderness on their own. Ahsoka is, as soon as she walked away beyond the Clone Wars, she was the definition of a Ronin Jedi. And now Mando is sort of going along that same path, especially after what Bo-Katan told him, after he met her. And she's like, oh yeah, you guys are like that, like spooky Scientology version of Mandalorians that my mom told me to stay away from. That's going to sort of, that's a seed that's in his head now. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this season, he decides, you know what, this isn't the way. And he kind of takes his own his own religion into his own hands, and being like, no, this is what I believe now, not what I've been indoctrinated to believe. And I think that is, like you mentioned earlier, Charlie, the idea of seeing the Mandalorian shaken, the idea of like kind of stripping him down to the core of what he is and having him build himself up. I think that's the best way to do it, because what he is that idea of like, never take these off. My weapons are my religion. That whole credo has to kind of be washed out of his system and he has to rebuild himself from the ground up. And I'm really curious to see what that's going to be like. And I think Ahsoka's the perfect person to kind of start him on that journey.
Similar to Luke, what Luke was saying to Rey in The Last Jedi. He said, the Jedi were this powerful people, but essentially they let the Emperor take over, So maybe it's not quite the right way to do things, and the fact that he downplays the books and all that kind of stuff, and Yoda downplays the books. Have you ever read them? So maybe like he goes through what's the word for that? Renaissance, is it? I guess kind of like is it?
Yeah, like a reawakening, like spiritual reawakening.
Maybe,
yeah. It's the dogmatic point of view kind of created this pride and blinded them. And if the same thing happens to these Mando folks, then we might see that parallel story, and it would be really, really cool to see where that ends up then. So before we stray away from the Mandalorian, one last question. Charlie, let me start with you on this here. Plain and simple, what's the deal with Boba Fett? What's going on here?
I believe we will see him get his armor back. We will, I think, have to wait until his little mini-series to see how he escaped the Sarlacc pit. But I think we will get that. We'll get more of him. I think he'll be another catalyst to help push Mando away from Children of the Watch back to more of a Bo-Katan style. I think that's where we're going to see it, and that will be probably at the very end of the episode, end of the season, at least in my mind, anyway. The big climactic battle, I think we'll see, and we'll get some Boba Fett in there, parting some words of wisdom to Din Djarin.
Yeah, that is. I'm more excited to see him fight Boba Fett than I am to see him fight Moff Gideon, just because it's the idea of these two guys in the two. Like, I love duels where visually they look the same. That's why I always love seeing Spider-Man fight Venom, because they kind of look the same, but one is just sort of like a bastardization of the other. And to see the same thing happen with Din Djarin and Boba Fett, yes, please. Phil, where is Boba Fett going? What's his deal here?
Well, I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works. I reckon that's it.
Wow.
Done. Yeah, I think.
Interesting.
I wouldn't be that annoyed. I think that's he had that moment, and now we know. Kind of, we don't know what happened, but we know essentially. And I think it was just put there because a lot of people have been asking, didn't he get out of the Sarlacc pit? And now that was just kind of like, he's there, and that's it for me. I may very well be wrong, but I wouldn't be that annoyed really. I quite like I wouldn't be disappointed really, but maybe that's unconventional.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't sound too far out of the Filoni wheelhouse, because even though he's good at giving people what they want, he's also got this little bit of a streak in him where he's like, just because it's what you want doesn't necessarily mean it's what's right.
And it gave people it gave people the answer they were looking for. Did he survive the Sarlacc pit? Right now we know he did. And that maybe is enough for Filoni. Maybe just thought, I'll answer that question, and then it'll disappear, walk off into the sunset. But I could be completely wrong. He's going to be back in. I haven't seen episode 4 yet. I don't know if he's come back or not.
Well, see, I don't see any reason for Din Djarin to go back to Tatooine anytime soon. So I don't think we're getting. He returns and Fett's there waiting for him. But the idea of Boba Fett being a character on the show uh, really intrigues me. And I'm not even one of those people who's like just like obsessed with Boba Fett, because I know a lot of people love the guy. I was just never one of those people who gravitated towards Boba Fett. I was always more of a CVP guy. So the idea of seeing him doesn't come from this place of like, I want to know what happened to my favorite character. It just comes from this place of like, here's this, enigmatic dude who has been around for almost all of Star Wars, and here's the chance to sort of give him the spotlight that we always, like so many people wanted from him, that kind of got robbed from him, in the same vein as Darth Maul, which Filoni did a great job of being like, okay, Darth Maul's not dead. Here's a way of describing how he's not dead that doesn't feel too cheap. And we're also going to really beef him up and make him a character with arcs and goals. And if he applies that same storytelling magique to Boba Fett, I think we could be in for a real big treat, especially if he gets his armor back, because seeing that armor walking around just would put a smile on my face.
I have some speculation. I believe we won't see Boba Fett in his armor. I don't think we will see Boba Fett fight Din Djarin. I believe, at least according to the track record that we've seen, Din will get in a little over his head. His armor will be in pieces. It needs to be fixed. Boba saves him, explains who he is, that was his armor, and Din Djarin will have to use that armor to fix his, therefore becoming the ultimate Mandalorian. And Boba Fett will go off into the sunset.
With Bib Fortuna.
Oh, I hope so. And that's a sitcom. It's basically Perfect Strangers, but it's them.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's like, hey, I told you to leave the apartment to me tonight. I've got a date. And Bib is like, "Me Jabba no bada." And then cut to credits. Oh, make it happen.
Cousin Larry.
Yeah.
All great ideas. I mean, we can't. I don't think we can go wrong. I don't think Boba Fett is in bad hands. Like, I don't think they're going to do anything that we're going to be like, I wish they had just left him in that Sarlacc pit. I don't see a world where that could happen. So I think whatever happens with Boba, be it, this cool idea that you have, Charlie, about him like coming into the thing and saving him and sort of ending his arc like that, or Phil, your whole idea of just him being like, I'm here, I'm alive, get used to it. Bye.
Yeah.
Either of those is really cool in their own right, and I think we'll be satisfied in the long run with whatever Boba gives us. So really quickly, let's touch on something here. We've talked about this whole Boba Fett might get some kind of spin-off. There's talk of Cara Dune maybe getting some kind of spin-off, especially after what we saw in this latest chapter. There are whispers of, if Ahsoka is here, it's to set up her own show. All these talks and whatnot. But what I want to focus on is our two concrete friends, Mr. Cassian David Andor and Obi-Wan Jeffrey Kenobi, who we know for a fact are coming to Disney Plus. They're taking their sweet ass time, but they are giving them to us on Disney Plus. Phil, what do you want to see and what do you not want to see in these shows?
So for Obi-Wan Kenobi, very, very happy to see anything with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. I think he's great. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult with that because he's obviously got his baseline story will be protecting Luke, I'm guessing, or watching over Luke. And it might be similar to the Mandalorian where he's going to have like little adventures and stuff. But it'd be interesting to see what happens with that, whether he actually ever leaves Tatooine or not. Cassian Andor, you can do anything with him. I think it's going to be more of a spy kind of vibe to it than because whereas Obi-Wan's going to be more of he's the Jedi, right? So he can have his little adventures and stuff. But I think it's going to be more of a spy thriller style for Cassian Andor, which would be quite cool. Not James Bond, but like that, similar, maybe more, maybe a bit more covert operations and stuff. I'd like to see that with that. Mon Mothma, maybe, would be good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can never have too much Mon Mothma as far as
Mon Mothma, yeah, possibly. And is it? Do you know? Did they know when that's going to be set yet? Obviously, it's going to be pre Rogue One. Spoiler alert for the end of that movie. But
yeah,
is it going to be like a long time before, or?
I heard a few things that sort of conflicted one another. The big thing that kind of same actor, so it can't be too long.
Yeah, okay.
And one of the big things I heard that kind of narrowed it down for me was apparently K2SO is in it. And we got that comic that showed how he met K2SO, which also wasn't very long before Rogue One. I think it might have been like a year before Rogue One or something like that. So it's a very narrow time frame we've got going on there, which tells me it'll probably be a shorter series too, like the Obi-Wan one. Sure. But the actual sort of time frame, the story, everything there's nothing spelled out for us yet.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's what it's going to be like. I think it's going to be more of a spy thriller kind of style for that one. And then Obi-Wan, no idea what they're going to do with that. No idea. But it's going to be very interesting to see because he's got his general purpose is to take care of Luke, right? And watch over Luke. So it'll be interesting to see if that's in there. I don't know how I'd feel about seeing a young Luke played by, maybe. Not sure how I feel about that. But I guess if you got the right actor, could be good.
Yeah,
he'd have to be very young, like a child Luke. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that because Luke Skywalker is Star Wars, isn't he? Really? So, like, I don't know, kind of like, I'd be like, really? I'm not sure, not quite sure, but possibly.
Young Luke would be a tricky hurdle to get us over. And from what I've read, this looks like it's going to be set 8 years after Revenge of the Sith. So he is a younger Luke than young Anakin was.
Yeah.
That is a little kid. And I think that it better be safe than sorry. Better stay away from that. Just kind of, if Luke shows up, just make it like a background thing, or like you don't even see him, or like Beru's like, where did that Luke get to now? Yeah. I don't know why Beru is Southern in my head for some reason. So Charlie, what are you feeling? What are these shows going to be?
Oh man, I'll start with Kenobi. As long I believe we'll get Qui-Gon in there, nice. At least as a voice or possible Force ghost, because Obi-Wan has to learn it from somewhere. And that's where he learns it from is, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when they go into exile, his Yoda tells him, hey, someone has more to teach you. And he's like, Qui-Gon? And, so we know that that happens after that. I would love to see the end game between Obi-Wan and Maul on Tatooine, because that's where it's rumored to happen. Maul tracks him, Obi-Wan down on Tatooine. I think that we'll also see a young Luke in there as well. Will not be a prominent figure. I think it'd be more, like you said, a background character, that we'll just catch glimpses of. But I would love to see that end battle between Maul and Kenobi. I think it's going to be amazing. So,
like a reproduction of the what was it? Clone Wars, was it? Was it Clone? No,
Rebels.
Rebels. Sorry, yeah, like a reproduction of that fight. You mean?
I guess because Maul was supposed to have survived that, and if George Lucas had his way, Maul would have been the star of the sequel trilogy. So there's he always finds a way to survive, whether it's mechanical legs or whichever. But I would love to see that again. I think Ray Park is itching to play the character again live. So that would be amazing to see. And as far as Cassian Andor, I agree with Phil. I think it's going to be more of a spy type thriller. Lots of action and suspense. I think that we'll get Mon Mothma in there. I think we'll get probably some Saw Gerrera in there a little bit. There's
you
just
see your mind.
We have a lot of possibilities, and I'm glad that they're going back to that Rogue One it's such a fantastic period of history for Star Wars.
Yeah, it really is. Speaking of Saw Gerrera, side Akbar, I just watched the movie Bloodsport for the first time, and a very young Forrest Whitaker is in it. It's
Van Damme.
Yeah,
Van Damme movie.
Yeah, the Van Damme one.
That's a great movie. That.
You just now watched that?
I just saw it for the first time. I've been on this kick of watching movies I haven't seen yet. A big chunk of it is set in Kowloon Walled City, which doesn't exist anymore, but I am obsessed with Kowloon Walled City, so it was cool to see that as well. But yeah, if you guys want to see a very young Saw Gerrera, please drop what you're doing and watch Bloodsport right now. These shows they're so intriguing to me because of what they sort of represent. The Cassian show is a show that I don't think I ever personally would have asked for, but because it's rebellion, like Empire era focused, and it's a spy for the rebellion going around doing God knows what, I feel like it has such a wider set of potential than the Obi-Wan show. Like the same thing with Mandalorian. When Jon Favreau said our show is going to be called The Mandalorian, I was like, I remember my reaction was, I'm not really a huge Mandalorian fan. So I was like, cool, but this is not a show I would have asked for. And then once I saw the show, I'm like, oh, like they have like almost carte blanche, like they can go anywhere and do anything because of how off the beaten path this is. So I feel like Cassian is going to be the same way. I think you're both right. Spy stuff, please. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a huge James Bond fan. I would be totally fine if these were just James Bond movies with Cassian. Like even have throw Shirley Bassey in there and give us a theme song every episode.
Get a Canto Bite.
Who's going to stop the Empire? I'd be all for that. Get some like Twi'lek silhouettes of like naked Twi'leks with guns. I think the potential of the Cassian show is so wide. They could literally send him anywhere. And to your point, Charlie, about Maul, he, during, I can't remember exactly what year he died. I think it was, I think unfortunately it's before Rogue One happened. So he might already be dead at this point. But depending how far back we go, I mean, he is a criminal. He is a Blofeld type criminal. And if Cassian is going to be a Bond type spy, he might crack down on some of Crimson Dawn. So
old cat.
Yeah. Get him a little scar too. So I think that even if there is no Maul present here, I think that Crimson Dawn and maybe even Kira could be a big sort of thing to wedge into this show and be like, hey, connections. The Kenobi thing is a whole other animal because we know that A, it's a mini series, and B, it's a much narrower field of vision. Like where can we take Obi-Wan without contradicting stuff? And there's not a lot of wiggle room there. So for me personally, I just want to see the moment he finds out Anakin is alive and he is the dude in that weird suit that there have been ghost stories about in the galaxy, because that is too important of a moment and we haven't seen it yet. It is too important. It is too emotional. And the fact that if we go the rest of our lives not seeing that moment, it would be a waste. It would be a war crime to take that moment away from Star Wars. That's big. So I want that moment, and I want that to be the kickstart. Like, that moment is this show's Baby Yoda for me. That moment is what makes Kenobi go, I can't just sit here on Tatooine, right? I have to go do something. And whatever it is he goes and does, I'll leave that for
Baby
smarter
Jabba.
people than me to decide. Ooh, Baby Jabba. And Jabba's like, where's baby? I remember the initial consensus was like, oh yeah, he's chilling on Tatooine and he's fighting Tusken Raiders and fighting Jabba's people and whatever. And I think I've never really liked that idea, and now more than ever I don't like it, just because it's, we have a great show already where a guy walks around the desert and fights alien thugs and pirates, and it's working well on Mandalorian. I don't need to see the same thing just with Ewan McGregor swinging a blue lightsaber around. I want to give him something meatier to do. Get it? Meteor, because we're in space. So yeah, I want to see him do something with a bit more heft to it, and I think that trying to get him to, whether or not they meet, I would love to see them meet, but trying to get him to consider going after Anakin or something along those lines would be beautiful, and I think it would be genuinely scary to see what happens there.
So how much stock do you put into Wikipedia?
I put stock into it when it comes to, like, what's that planet's name? But that's about it. That's as kind of as far as I'll throw it.
I was just because I was curious. I looked it up just to see what they said about Maul. Maul, they're saying that Maul died to BBY on Tatooine after a duel with Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, in Rebels, right?
In Rebels, yeah, by the campfire,
yeah.
So yeah, if and if this is, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they'll go, how far they'll go to in the series, but that's something that we could possibly see. And yeah, I would love to see it. That's a Battle of Yavin. Let's see, Luke would have been 16 at the time that Maul died, because he was 18, 19 at
He's
the
19
Battle of
at
Yavin.
Yavin, yeah.
So I think that might push it a little bit more than what they're going to show if it's a young Luke where he's like 8 years after Revenge of the Sith. So it's kind of about the halfway point between the two.
Yeah, so it's a tight squeeze on the timeline, but it's possible. It's possible. And I mean, Filoni knows that timeline, so all they got to do is ask him, be like, hey Dave, in this year, who's alive? And I feel like he would just be like, so both shows to look forward to, both shows to I think get excited for, but they still feel so far away. At least we have Mandalorian to enjoy and High Republic to enjoy as well. So our last topic today that I want to go over is something else that's a little far away because we really know nothing yet, but we have two shows on the horizon. I think they're both shows, which is the show that's going to be helmed by J.D. Dillard, and the other one that's going to be helmed by Leslie Headland. J.D. Dillard is the director of Slight, which I think you can watch on Netflix. It's about magicians. I haven't watched it yet. I promised James I would, but I haven't. I've been a bad boy. I've been too busy watching Bloodsport. I'm sorry. And then Leslie Headland, who was a writer and director, I believe, for Russian Doll, who's got her own thing going there. Now, the Dillard one, not a whole lot of info. The Leslie Headland one, though, she came out during an interview last week, I think, because the show was first announced in April. And she just said really quickly, she's talking about it. It is confirmed to be an Untitled Star Wars Disney Plus series. And she said she's serving as the showrunner and writer. She said it will star a female protagonist. I think she said it's going to include sort of like a martial arts kind of thing to it. But her quote that I wanted to look into is she says, "It's in a pocket of the universe and a pocket of the timeline that we don't know much about." So that created a whole stirring of things. One thing that James thought it meant, and that I wanted to run by you guys and see what you think, is the idea of parallel universes within Star Wars. And is that a place where she might be taking us? What do you think, Charlie? Let me start with you. What do you think she's going to give us? What's this pocket of time and space? And do you think parallel Star Wars universes are happening? Are they a good idea, bad idea? What's your feeling here?
As far as parallel universes, to borrow from another mythos like a Flashpoint type series, I don't think that they would do that, just because we already have enough problem with what's canon, what's not canon. We have all these books and we have these characters, but what about these characters? And I think that it's already, I think it would cause too much diversion in Star Wars to have multiple storylines or multiple universes, because then you'll have the people, well, this is my canon, and this storyline, no, this is my canon, and never the two shall meet. And yes, I like the idea. I don't know if you've seen the Lego Holiday Special.
Mm-hmm.
Or not, but something like that would just, I don't know, in a live action show, it would be odd. Just hearing you talk about it, because I try to stay away from too many of the rumors or bits and pieces. I like to go into things pretty fresh, but with what you were saying, it reminded me of possibly a Kira series.
Ooh.
She, if we're not going to get Solo 2, with a strong female lead with martial arts abilities, which we already saw in Solo, in a time, in a pocket of the timeline that we're not that familiar with, I would love to see her in some Crimson Dawn type situation as she takes over. And yeah, that to me, that would be amazing to see.
So if I'm right, Charlie, the path you're taking me on, which is a path I'm loving, is Kira using Terras Kasi, and then she goes to Kowloon Walled City and fights JC Feedy. I am there.
There we go.
I am there. That sounds amazing. Bloodsport 2, The Bloodening, starring Kira. I love it. I love it. I think that's a great little. You put that together really well. I didn't even think of Kira and the connection to martial arts, but yeah, she knows Terras Kasi, man. She's got it. Phil, what's this pocket of time in the canon that Leslie had?
Well, I'd have to say I agree 100% with Charlie on the let's just have one timeline, because multiple universes could get very confusing for old people like me, or semi-old people, I guess. So I've just looked at the book, the Star Wars High Republic book, and it's called, what is it, Light of the Jedi?
Mm-hmm.
Front cover, very martial art looking, strong female character wielding a lightsaber is on that. Not sure what her name is. We don't know hardly anything about High Republic. Not really, apart from that book, and so I think that's could be a completely new character. Or possibly the character from the book. Has it come out yet or not?
No, I think
January 2021. Yeah, January 5th. So I've just seen the front cover, and there is a very martial arts looking strong female character on the cover. So that could be, I reckon, High Republic. I think that's good. They're going to push that a little bit as well. I think next year, maybe next year or the year after. So I think, yeah, possibly a High Republic series.
And that's another great idea, especially like, you know, if those books do well, which I hope they do. I really hope they do. There's going to be people clamoring to see it visually represented. And, you know, I'm sure the comic will be beautiful. Like all the art we've seen looks like the pastel colors of High Republic looks friggin' gorgeous. So if we get, you know, enough people behind it where they're like, we want to see this in live action, I think absolutely we're gonna get there. And if Leslie Headland is the one to take us there, you know, all the better for it. I want to.
I've got a name. Her name is Avar Chris.
Avar Chris, yeah. She's the blonde
Chris.
lady who's front and center. She looks like she's going to be really cool. I should reiterate, I'm a little bit drunk, so I read this wrong here. When James was telling me some topics, alternate timeline is the word he used. I said parallel universes because I'm a dumbo sometimes, but you guys kind of understood where I was going at. Like alternate timelines. I think that, you know, the idea of alternate timelines and seeing things from alternate, like having things transpire differently than they did in the main timeline, I think that is good for universes that are very small. I think it worked great for Groundhog Day because Groundhog Day took place in a little town. But I think this is such a vast playground that we don't need to stretch it out that way. We've got plenty of toys already to play with here. In terms of what I want to see from these shows, again, J.D. Dillard's show I know nothing about. Once I watch Slight, I'll figure out, you know, where he's going to take us. I'm sure it's great. The Leslie Headland thing has me really excited, especially, you know, when somebody says they're going to explore a pocket of the Star Wars timeline that we haven't seen yet. To me, you know, because this is going to be a live action show, what I am getting on my knees and praying for is we have 10 juicy years between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Take me back to Coruscant and Naboo and, you know, some prequel planets. Take me back to that era and let's play there again. That's where my heart wants to go. I miss that era so much, and it's been amazing seeing Imperial Stormtroopers again, and it's been amazing seeing all these wonderful things that we got to see in Rogue One and in The Mandalorian, and I loved it. But the prequel era has so far been tap danced around a bit by Mandalorian, tap danced around a bit by the books, ignored completely by J.J. Abrams. So it would be really nice to sort of give it some love again. And I think that juicy chunk of time is just, there's so much we can do there. Like when you look at how much material exists in the 3 years between A New Hope and Empire, like there is a laughably large amount of material in those 3 years. And there is like one comic that takes place between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So we need
Coruscant would be great to see that. Great to see that.
Every time I watch Revenge
Polar
of the Sith,
opposite to Mandalorian, really.
Yeah, exactly. Polar opposite.
Shiny and yeah.
It would be just beautiful. And like whenever I watch Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones, and I see them like when they go to the opera house, the establishing shot of that opera house, I'm just like, why have we not played here again? It's so nice. So I
like
think.
I like the area where Obi-Wan goes to that nightclub to buy the death sticks, or he gets offered the death sticks, you know, like those kind of like underworld kind of nightclub places, like almost like a Blade Runner. I'd like a weird Blade Runner sort of city, so it'd be quite cool to see.
Yeah,
there was some kind of underworld thing, right? What was that underworld thing they were going to do?
I think that was
1313.
Yeah, there was the 1313 the game, and there was the old live action series that Lucas wanted to do before he kind of scrapped it, and I think that was very underworld based too. Yeah. But there's so much juice on Coruscant and on Naboo, which we've seen even less than Coruscant. Just get us in that prequel era, and I'll be a happy camper. But who knows? We got shows galore. Disney Plus is literally only a year old, and from what they've told us, we are in for a treat. We're in for a lot of shows. This vaccine cannot come fast enough, so they could start filming these shows. If we don't get a vaccine by February, I'm just going to start filming the Kenobi show in my bedroom. I can't wait any longer. So before we wrap up, James is going to join us, and we are going to play around with some odds. because we are odd fellows, so it only makes sense.
Never tell me the odds. Hey, everyone.
Hey, James.
Can everyone hear me? You can't see me. Can you hear me?
No, you're like a Force ghost.
I am the voice. Okay, yeah. Got some odds for you, and these odds are going to blow your mind. All right. Andrew, I will say the odd, and then you can relay it to everybody else, and we'll have a nice little... So that way there's some order kept. All right, how about that? Andrew will go first, and then he'll throw to whoever he wants to hear next, because some of them are really difficult odds, and we'll see how big a Star Wars fan each of you truly are, based on your answer to these. Oh, I'm just joking.
I love the idea that I don't know the odds, because I love having that element of surprise.
It's a big surprise. It's also they're for fun, right? So, never tell me the odds. So, also, I have to also say that I do not think that there will be a alternate dimension or timeline, because that would be awful, and I do not want that. I am hoping it just takes place sometime in the galaxy that we've never experienced before, and that way they don't have to worry about continuity or canon or any of that stuff that has your hands tied. So, that being said, first odd, will Ahsoka introduce us to an alternate timeline in Star Wars?
You went right for the jugular.
I went right for it. Will Ahsoka be the one to introduce us to an alternate timeline within Star Wars?
You know what? If anybody is going to, it's gonna be her. Like, she literally got pulled out of a time hole. She's such a wild card, man. I'm gonna say the odds of the alternate timeline actually being a thing are very low, but the odds of her being the one to introduce it is 58%. Phil, where are you landing on this?
I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna go 2%. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. I think it's too confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it doesn't anyway. But there we go. I'm sure it might. Something might happen, but I'm gonna go low, 2%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. What do you think, Charlie?
I'm actually going to go a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with 33%. My reasoning is there's that unknown quantity of the world between worlds that Ezra has tapped into a little bit and changed. I don't think it's going to be exactly what we think it is as far as an alternate dimension, but there's a whole lot of unknown space that's there. If they're going to do it, that's probably the way they'll do it, and it'll have to be with Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think if you're going to throw it in, Ahsoka is the one that has to do it, but I hope not. All right, Charlie, I'll start with you on this one. Never tell me the odds that the Boba Fett series will end. So the series will end with Boba Fett watching the Mandalorian speed away on the speeder bike as he did at the end of episode whatever the first episode of season 2 was. It was chapter 9.
50%. It'll either end that way, or he'll be mortally wounded and hand over his armor to Mando to fix his, or something along with that line that I was thinking of earlier. I think he'll either watch him and go off peacefully, or it'll be a mortal wound, and that will be the end of Boba Fett as we know him.
Wow, Phil?
0%. He's not coming back. I've got to stick with my guns, right? I've said it already. So
fair.
That's it. You saw the last of him. That's it. Never to be seen again.
He is Boba finished.
Boba, yeah.
So is this Boba Fett show? Is this a thing? Like, I don't think.
Yeah, they've apparently 2 people have been cast in it aside from Tamora Morrison. This is all speculation, I believe, and it's supposedly a prequel show to The Mandalorian. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't make the rules. I just read spoilers online that ruin TV series for me.
This, I think, with that in mind, that very well could end that way now. So let me say that it's I think that would be even money. I think that's a full Brock 50%, because you could end that way, or you could end with something interesting that kind of just um, we're familiar with him being up on that cliff now, so you could end somewhere else, but we know from where he is that eventually he's going to get to that cliff and be like, hey, who's that guy? Yeah, wow, this boggled my mind. I did not know that this show was in the works. I hope if it exists, I hope it's a mini series like Obi-Wan, because I think that 5 seasons of him just bumming around Tatooine is going to get stale.
Stale like Jawa bread.
Yeah.
And our final odd, Phil, I'm going to start it with you.
Okay.
The final odd. What are the odds that in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, we will have featured one of these villains? One of these villains will be featured in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Either Darth Vader, Darth Maul, or just Maul, Orson Krennic, or Fennec Shand.
Darth Vader, possibly. I'll be surprised if they do Vader. Actually, I would be surprised. I would say it's probably a high likelihood that they'll have more in there at some point. I think probably 75%. I'm going to say.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd say probably Darth Maul would be the one.
Very high. And we're coming back right when this series ends in 2037, and we're all going to have this conversation and look over what we said. Charlie, what about you?
I would agree. I believe it will be Darth Maul, and I would say 80%.
Yeah, I think that that's a lot of villains there, and I think the odds of one of them showing up is very high. I'm pulling for Vader. I'm gonna say like a solid 84% chance we see Mr. Vader. Now that I know there's apparently a Boba Fett show, I think that that's where they're gonna stick Fennec Shand, especially if he's her contact that she was supposed to meet before that random dude shot her. I think that she's going to be part of that prequel series in that case.
Ooh, I like that a lot. All right, those are the odds that I had for you guys. Thanks for answering them. Like I said, in 2077, when these things come to air after the pandemic is over, we will overlook them and see what you guys got right. All right.
2077, that's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. And at that point,
ambitious.
Like, hey, I think we got a vaccine now, guys.
Yeah, we got it. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Andrew, it's back to you.
Thank you, James. I liked those odds a lot, and I liked this episode a lot. And it aired. This is airing Thursday. If you're watching this, it's American Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope you're all staying safe and cozy and away from viruses. But I hope you're still, enjoying yourself and being with your loved ones and eating good food, and just all in all having a great time. And another thing to look out for is the Unleashed Roundtable, which is going up also today, the day you're watching this, at 12 noon. And if you know anything about Rebel Scum Podcast, our roundtables are pretty damn sexy. That's where we put most of our effort. We wear much more revealing clothing. It's great. So tune into that. It's at 12 noon, the Unleashed Roundtable. Gentlemen, Charlie, I'll start with you. Anything you want to say before we sign off? Anything you want to plug? Any messages you want to send? Any last words?
Well, you can always catch me at the Red 5 Network, at Red 5 Network on Twitter. My Twitter is Charlie Red 4. I also have a podcast, Star Wars Through the Ages, and I'm also the co-host of Rogue One Radio with Steve Long.
Beautiful. That's a lot of great stuff. And Phil Staniforth?
Happy Thanksgiving, I guess. Enjoy your yams. Was that a sweet potato, is it? Is it like a sweet potato?
It is, yeah.
I always hear I used to watch Friends quite a lot, and they always used to eat yams. I was like, what's a yam? Never heard of it. But I think I found out it's a sweet potato. So enjoy your yams, and whatever else you do on Thanksgiving. I don't know. Watch football, I guess. American football. Yeah. That's about it. Happy Thanksgiving, I guess. And yeah, December 1st, put your Christmas tree up.
Yeah. I'm not going to have one this year, unfortunately. It's going to be a sad year, but I'll make do. I'll cut something down in the neighborhood. I probably won't get arrested for that. I'll probably be safe doing that. Thank you very much, Phil, Charlie, for joining us here on Bright Sons, and thank you, everybody who told your family, "Hey, kids. Hey, husband. Hey, wife. Shut up. I'm not taking part in Thanksgiving because I'm watching Bright Sons on Rebel Scum podcast." Thank you for having your priorities in order and spending your Thanksgiving with us today. So I have been Andrew Fantasia. These gentlemen have been awesome as always, and you have been awesome as always. So we will see you around. Tune in at 12 for the Unleashed Roundtable. Until next time, folks, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.